Okay. So then after that, and then around that time, that's when you started seeking out maybe additional spiritual training. And then did you get into the channeling right away, or did you sort of dabble a little bit more and get to know maybe archangels or a little bit of the shamanism stuff before? So how did that kind of work itself out?
Yeah, so I was still dabbling, period. I was a scaredy cat. Like I wanted to know, but I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
But tell me more, but I'm not going to do it,
Yeah.
lot of like internal like struggle going on. Like, what do you really want to do it? And what does that mean? It means the boogeyman. Does it mean you're gonna be possessed? Like all the, like
Yeah.
all of unknown and all of the crazy that goes into your head because you don't understand it, and because of the fears and the other, past conditioning and beliefs. So you're kind of like struggling with all of that. Um, and so this is when when the plant medicine comes in, because it just helped me to remove all of that resistance and feel the scary and realize that the scary really is not that bad. Like, what is it that I'm really afraid of? Even though it's like the most amazing thing in the whole world, I still have to let go of that fear in order to experience that amazing thing, you know? And so one of my other spiritual mentors, she was like, you need to try this, because she was facilitating um and serving this bufo medicine. And so I'm gonna describe to you my
Yeah.
experience as much as I can, but it's hard when um it's indescribable. So, anyways, you smoke it. It's like processed in a way where it's like these little chips, I guess, and then they burn it. You smoke it in a pipe, and then it gets to the point where um, you have to surrender to the medicine. Otherwise, you'll start to purge. You'll start to like want to throw up and nauseous. So I remember right before I left, like right before I surrendered, she said, just let go and surrender. Just let go and surrender. And I had no idea what surrender meant because I'm such a control freak. But as
Yes.
soon as I felt like I was freaking out and wanting to like hold on to something, meanwhile the medicine like is really just asking you to let go of everything. I remember her telling me just surrender, because I felt like I was going to throw up. And as soon as I just breathed and told myself I'm just letting go, and I'm just going to experience this, I trust, I love, I trust, I love, like, oh my gosh, it was like the most crazy energy I've ever felt. First of all, I felt like I was on fire. Like I felt like my body was on fire, like I was melting. And it was so hot. I only remember like the only thing that would kind of alleviate or at least help me get through it is deep breaths. But every time I breathed in, I felt like it was a bottomless, and it was never ending. And I could never stop breathing in. And so I was like, oh my God, this is like incredible, because I wasn't running out of breath. I just continued to breathe in like forever until I decided that I was going to release. And with every inhale and exhale, it was just like this buildup of energies, buildup of energy. And then, all these different beautiful colors. It's like magenta and gold, and then like all of the mandalas.
Yeah.
Like I don't like I felt like it was hundreds of mandalas just like coming at me over and over and over and over. And then I remember this voice in my stomach, and and it said, "Stick out your tongue." And I was like,
Oh
"No,
my God.
like, that is so weird. I'm not going to stick out my tongue." This is me on plant medicine talking to this voice. She's like, "Stick out your tongue." And so I stuck out my tongue like as far as I could. And then I started screaming, and I screamed like so loud. I felt like the earth was going to like shatter. It was just like, to me, a deafening scream, like from the depths of my belly. And this
Oh,
voice kept telling me, she's like, "Stick out your tongue," and and scream. She's like, "This is for your ancestors. This is for
oh my
next
God.
generation. This is for," it was just so incredible. And oh, I forgot to tell you one important thing. My intention. So every time you take plant medicine, you set an intention, right? And my intention was to meet my spiritual team. And so that first energy that came through was Kali and Kali Ma. And so she has a lot of dragon energy as well. And I feel like she was the main one that came through that day. It was so powerful. And the whole tongue thing, like, that was, to me, that was just like classic her. And so as I'm going through this experience, um, it's like it's so hard to explain. You know how I said I kept going up and up and up, but at the same time I was going down too. It was just like simultaneously two things happening at once. So hard to explain. Um, and I don't know what I looked like while I was experiencing this. So I don't know if my body was in complete stillness and I
Oh,
was
wow.
feeling in, or if I was really like, that animated, and if everyone was seeing what I was doing. Um, and Finally, towards the end of the experience, so the nice thing about Bufo is it only lasts like 30 minutes, the whole experience. So it about 20 minutes, the this upgrade, this activation was complete. And then they slowly brought me back. And when I opened my eyes, so we were all outside. It was a ceremony, so multiple people were receiving this. Um, I remember the tree and the leaves, and the leaves are about 20 to 30 feet up from where I am. And I remember opening my eyes and the leaves like speaking to me, like rattling. And even though it wasn't speaking English, like I knew it was talking to me, and I knew it was sending me love. I knew it was like my witness to what I had been through. And it was weird for me to think that, because I still didn't feel like I was evolved in my spirituality to feel connected in that way. But I think the plant medicine also dispelled that myth for me, that there's no real definition of spirituality, like this level that I thought I needed to be at. There's nothing, there's no levels, we just, it
Wow.
is what it is. We believe, and we are where we are. Everybody's just on a journey. There's nobody's like, more superior than someone else. Um, and so that was I would say my first dragon encounter. And after that, I was kind of scared. You see, like, two steps forward, one step back.
Yeah.
um, and because it scared me, I'm like, I don't know what that was, and that freaked me out. And plant medicine, like, Bufo at least, stays in your system. So the plant medicine will stay for a couple months. And for that next week, I was having those Cali like experiences every night. So it was very overwhelming for me, and super uncomfortable. Um, and I didn't know what to make of it. I kind of thought I was going crazy. Uh, but my mentor was saying, this is all part of integration. This is all part of the process. Just trust you're safe. She kept reassuring me, you're safe. Don't give into that fear. Like, it doesn't exist. This is all love. And she was just saying, you're starting to wake up. You're starting to wake up.
Oh,
So, go ahead. What were you saying?
oh, I was just blown away. Were you talking about that? Was it happening to you in your dreams at night?
Yeah.
Or
And times when I woke up in the middle of the night, I would feel it.
oh,
Yeah. Yeah. So
continue. I'm
it's,
at the edge of my seat.
well, it kind of falls flat here, because then, okay, was scared, so I stopped again, and I was like, this is way too much for me. Like, this is too fast, too soon. But I still was like pursuing that path in terms of understanding spirituality and using what I know to help people who are just starting, people who are just dipping their toes in there. And so I started doing these spiritual retreats. And the very first one that I had, that's when I believed that I really had a spiritual team. Like, I could feel them this time, because as I was still learning, I would connect with them in meditation, but they still weren't real to me. I still felt like I was talking to, like, Jesus when I was in third grade, just like that big space of separation. That's how I felt
Oh,
with my God.
right.
But during the retreat, because it was my first time, and I was, not even graduating third grade of spirituality school, whatever, feeling like super inadequate to hold this space. Well, they showed up for me. I just felt like I had no idea what I was doing. But I also was like, okay, team, if you're out there, like, I really need you to show up, because I have no idea what I'm doing right now and what business I have here helping these women. And it was the night of the sound bath. And when I started playing the bowls, oh my gosh, it was just like it rained white all over. So it just like carried and held this space of so much support and so much healing and so much energy and so much like compassion. Like the women there, like they could feel it. And then, the dogs that were next door, there were these crazy darts next door to us that were barking like the entire time. Not, but except for the sound bath. That was the only time they
Oh,
stopped barking. So it's just like this allowance of peace and healing to happen, even for our dogs. Um,
wow.
and so that's when I felt like my archangel, that my relationships with the archangels um began to create we began to create some sort of relationship there. Uh and then Bufo comes back. Bufo the second time.
The return of Bufo.
Yes, yes. And this was a year later, and one of my friends had asked me if I'd ever want to do like some sort of like plant medicine with her. And when I told her about Bufo and how I did it that one time, she absolutely wanted to go. So I said, okay, well, it's been calling me back. Like I'm feeling like drawn to it again. So I decided to go. And I feel like this is when I really felt the dragons come through, because of the way the energy that comes up my throat and through my tongue. um that I know, like, it's now, looking back, it's familiar to me. So I know what it was. So we went to the same mentor who was serving it the first time. And the second time I told her my intention was to be a clear channel for the divine. And, I don't know what that means, but it sounds like, it just sounds like so powerful.
It does.
And so I go, um, I consume the toad medicine, and I'm back into, this space of spirit. I remember like the the heat rising inside my body. And then I just remember like it's like I want to call them snakes, and I don't want to call them serpents, but I'll just call them serpents and dragons, like just coming up and down. And then this energy, like something is forcing me to say something, and I knew it was in English, and of course I was still there, like present, and I was
Mm.
like, I don't want to. There's something that wants to come out, and I know it's not words, and I think it's my tongue, and I don't want to do that thing with my tongue, except I know it's going to be 10 times worse, because the energy is so intense. Like you cannot hold it out, like, sooner or later you would have to. So when I finally did express it, it was like a warrior call. It was like that, but
Oh,
it was so loud. It was just like this release of like redemption and victory and presence and like celebration, like a welcoming home. And gosh, it just gives me chills to like say that over.
I feel chills and I feel so emotional also listening to you.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I could cry.
Yeah, it was. And then it was so powerful, because just in seconds, it was a life review for me, multiple lifetimes. And um and it was so powerful, because the medicine was still working, but I remember having to open my eyes and expressing this, because as a soul, not as me today, but as a soul, realizing why I came, and how did we let this world get to this point, you know And I remember looking at my mentor and I was like happiness is our birthright. Why is there so much pain? And I was pounding on the ground and I said, we weren't supposed to let this happen.
Mm.
Why did we let this happen? And it was it was sad, it was beautiful, and it was powerful, and it was, a realization of um the responsibility that we have. I, for whatever reason, my soul felt like it needed to save the world, but I think that's part ego too, um but taking, you know be uh being 100% responsible for what happens in your life, uh, and all the choices that you make, because everything has a ripple effect.